So given everything we've learned about the picture of the virus across the country and in our own state, I am going to allow us to enter phase 3 starting tomorrow on schedule. I feel confident about that. But I'm going to now lay out a few changes to limit large group gatherings, changes to what I foreshadowed a week ago. And by the way, what I'm about to say is consistent with the approach I've taken the whole time. We really want to enable commerce so people can get their jobs back, but we also have to keep a lid on large group gatherings, and particularly social gatherings, because we know that's where the disease thrives, and we have to get people back to work. And so many small businesses are on the verge of not surviving. So, this is a balance. These are very difficult decisions I'm making. All weekend, very difficult discussions between our Department of Health leaders and our commerce leaders. This is a tough call. On the one hand, I have businesses that, if they can't do more business in the next month or so, aren't going to survive. On the other hand, we have a virus which is surging in many states, and 2-3 weeks does make a difference. So what I'm about to lay out for you is what I think is a fair balance to keep everybody safe and healthy and enable as much commerce as is safely possible, with recognition that the virus thrives in big crowds. So if you could please put up the slide on phase 3. And again, I want you to note this is a bit different than the phase 3 slide I put up a week ago. Phase 3 will begin tomorrow in the state of Rhode Island. In phase 3, social gatherings can be no larger than 25 people indoors and 50 people outdoors. So remember, that's a social gathering. That's places like a barbecue, a birthday party, any kind of a social gathering, a family event where you all know each other, and so you're likely to mingle with everyone who's at the event. That's different from, say, a restaurant where you're not going to mingle with the other people there. For social gatherings such as weddings, and that weighs on me. I know weddings the most special day in your life, and a lot of them happen in the summer. By the way, it's big business. So for social gatherings such as a wedding, where you have a licensed caterer involved, and therefore the setting kind of resembles a restaurant, we're going to allow you to go a bit larger. In these cases, you can have up to 50 people indoors and 100 people outdoors. Now, I want to say this. I recognize that a week ago I said the numbers could be higher. So if you already had planned your wedding and you've consulted with us and your wedding was above the 50 or 100, we want you to call us so we can help you figure it out. We'd like to enable you to have your wedding the way you want it, but we have to be really careful about the regulations, so we need to hear from you so we can help you have the wedding that you planned and possibly let you go a bit above the 50 people indoors and the 100 outdoors. Call the Department of Business Regulation at 889-5550, and we'll help walk you through it. So if you've already planned your event for July, and these are July events primarily, because it's likely in August the numbers are all going to go up in terms of social gatherings. So if you have an event in July that was bigger because of what I said a week ago, give us a call and we'll work it through with you. Call the Department of Business Regulation. For events that are open to the public, so musical performances and festivals just open to the public, you can have up to 125 people indoors and up to 250 people outdoors, assuming you follow the rules. Social distancing, making sure nobody there has symptoms or is sick, mask wearing, etc. And we're asking you, if you are going to plan an event that you know is going to have more than 100 people, get in touch with us ahead of time because we want you to submit a plan. I want to be very clear about this. This is different than what I said a week ago. A week ago, we said you could have outdoor events of an unlimited size. This week, we're saying 250 is the absolute hard cap for outdoors and 125 indoors. Also, you need to know, smaller is better, smaller is safer. Commerce, Stephen Pryor is here. He and his team will continue to work with businesses every step of the way, particularly for some of the new businesses that are going to be coming online. In phase 3, where movie theaters, bowling alleys, that all going to be coming online, indoor sports activities. Those were closed in phase 2. They are going to be allowed to open in phase 3. And so if you need a hand with that, you could consult reopeningri.com or call Commerce. I want to take a minute to talk about 4th of July. And again, this is different from what I said, so I want to take a minute to talk about it. We do not want to see 4th of July events, fireworks, events, et cetera, that go over 250 people outside. And we want you to submit a plan to us, which shows that you have precautions in place to keep folks 6 feet apart and distribute masks, or make sure everyone has a mask. We have a call later this afternoon with mayors and police chiefs and town municipal leaders. We're going to be working very closely with town leaders. Number 1, making sure that they enforce this rule of 250, and number 2, helping them. If you need us to help you distribute masks, we'll do it. If you need us to help get your hands on masks, we'll help you out. We want people to have a good 4th of July, but we don't want an outbreak. Someone said to me, are you worried about 4th of July? Absolutely worried. Yes, I am worried about 4th of July. I had a call earlier today with Governor Abbott of Texas. Texas is not in a good position right now. In the space of a few weeks, they went from a 4% test positive rate to over 14% test positive. And he said a lot of it came from big gatherings on Memorial Day. They felt that they had a lot of big gatherings on Memorial Day, not a lot of mask wearing. That happened Memorial Day, and then, several weeks later, they really started to see it in the data, and it changed like that. As he said, they went from plateau to a skyrocket. Let's not let that be our story. Let's learn from that. Let's learn from this tough experience of other places, and let's get it right here. So 4th of July is special, absolutely, and it should be, but we have to be smart and safe. So strict limits, and we're going to help you, municipalities, with enforcement, also help you with plans to get creative, and we're also going to supply you with masks and help you distribute the masks. These limits that I've just gone through and that are on the slide in front of you are applying to all venues of assembly, including places of worship. So that's the 125-person cap for indoor places of worship, 250 outdoor. Now, I recognize that in some cases, we have very large churches or a cathedral. You may already have more than 125 people at a particular service. And as long as you're doing that very safely with masks, with social distancing, with hand sanitizer, we're probably going to let you continue to do that, but you need to call us. So again, call DBR, 889-5550. Tell us if you're a church or a synagogue or a big mosque, a big facility, you think you can safely go over 125, you've been going over 125, get in touch with us so we can have a sense of your plan and make sure it's safe for you to continue. Now, what I said before, this is all about enabling commerce. I want to encourage additional growth of the economy and getting as many people back to work as possible. So, as you see on the slide in front of you, we're not making any changes to previously announced Phase 3 standards for businesses and cultural institutions. So if you're a restaurant or small business, everything I said last week still applies, and Phase 3 begins tomorrow. All indoor settings operating at a square footage capacity can still increase up to 1 person per 100 square feet, provided everyone maintains 6 feet of distance, and this includes things like retail stores. All indoor settings currently operating at a % capacity cap can increase up to 66% capacity, provided everybody has 6 feet social distance. So that's offices, that's restaurants. And nearly all indoor venues that were closed in Phase 2 can still open. So that's movie theaters, bowling alleys, arcades, museums, and the like. Seated venues can open up to 66% capacity, and free-flowing venues can open at 100 square feet per person, provided, again, everyone maintains 6 feet social distance. So again, Phase 3 will begin. Everything related to commerce, restaurants, retail, et cetera, is going to be, as I said a week ago. But we are making some changes to limit large group gatherings in light of what we've seen in the rest of the country and what we're seeing among 20-somethings in Rhode Island, and frankly, the fact that in an ideal world, we'd have a little bit more data of an experience from Phase 2 before we moved into Phase 3. I want to make a special note about bars, which I've already mentioned a few times. As I've said, bars have proven to be a hot spot. Today on the call with the White House, we heard from Deborah Birx, we heard from Dr. Fauci, we heard from many other governors. Bars was a hot topic. And it seems clear from the experience all over the country that unfortunately bars have been a hotspot, a place of contagion, for all the reasons that we know, right? That you tend to congregate, lots of young people, not a lot of compliance, not a lot of mask wearing, and so you're seeing the virus spread. So here in Rhode Island, bars are not operating in the way that they used to operate. You couldn't congregate around a bar. Bars and the way it'll be in Phase 3 will continue. Bars that are able to provide seated service to groups at stable tables have allowed to be open and will continue to allow to be open. However, we are not allowing people to mingle in close quarters and be served in front of a bar. And that is not going to change in Phase 3. So for bars, Phase 3 is going to look the same as Phase 2. And truthfully, if I decided to relax that, it is almost certain that we'd be doing what every other state is doing, and in 3 weeks from now, going back to where we are. So instead of having that setback and risking an outbreak, I'm going to keep it right where it is for now for a bar. They can operate, they can open, they can sell drinks, but it has to be according to the Phase 2 rules.